Welcome to this episode of Pen to Paper Press Podcast. I'm Cindy Coaches. There is a backstory weaved into each book. To explore the creative process, I'm sitting down with authors, writers, editors, publishers, and an array of creative souls to have a conversation centered on how they develop their stories to completing their works of art. Each episode is an opportunity for us to explore mindsets, pearls of wisdom, and the experiences that began our journey as an author from the moment we put pen to paper. Hey there, I just wanted to pop in real quick and give you a heads up, a fair warning. The recording on this episode is poor quality. I experienced technological issues, and when I opened up the podcast to edit, I saw my worst nightmare. The audio is recorded on Zoom, and when Zoom records, it is a single track, meaning both voices are on the same track. So it's not like I can separate her and my voice, raise the volume on mine. For whatever reason, it literally sounds like I am speaking to you from the bathroom, down the hall, and to the left. I had to raise the volume, and of course when I raised the volume on my voice, the background noise, the static, all of that comes with it. I have done my best to go through this podcast, raise my voice level so that you can hear me, so I'm audible. Bonus part though, my really loud giggle is at a minimum, and I did not go through and raise that volume up, so your eardrums will be safe from my cackle. Anyways, that's beside the point. So please be compassionate and understanding as you listen to this podcast. There is absolutely no way Tanya Miller and I could replicate this powerful, powerful conversation. The other thing I need to note is she was actually in a medical office at the time of recording, so she doesn't have the best of acoustics in addition to my audio issues. So again, even though this is a poor recording, please do listen to it. Tanya unpacked so much important information. It doesn't matter if you're a writer, an entrepreneur, or somebody who just needs a bit of information and motivation, mainly that motivation to do something. She is a brilliant woman, and she deserves the floor. So please do listen to the full episode. Again, I did my best at editing. I'm not a professional. I will never admit that I'm a professional because I'm not. So, all right, I'll get out of the way. Listen to this podcast. Please enjoy it. And thank you. Tanya Miller is a speaker, certified coach, and strategist with a passion for helping people and organizations with how to live life unapologetically and with purpose. Tanya published her first novel and accompanying journal from her Mind Matters project and has since published 2 more projects, Things My Mama Said and the Prose series. Tanya is preparing to release the Motivated Effort project later this year. Tanya, it is so good to sit here and spend some time with you and, talk about the joys of writing.
Thank you. I wasn't expecting like my whole life story, but I'm grateful that you shared all that amazingness of my journey, of pen to paper and writing. And so I'm glad that we get to talk about, one of my first loves. And it's actually one of my first loves that I forgot about. That's kind of, how it happened. When you're in school and you're writing papers all the time, you forget the fun part of writing because you're writing papers all the time. And so after college, or at least in midway in it, I got that love again, and I started remembering why I liked it, and I started to do the fun part of writing all over again.
Nice. So how many books in total have you published?
So with each project, I do two books. I do the book, and then I normally do an accompaniment book. So it may be a journal, it may be a guide, it may be a workbook. And so I publish that as well when I release the book. And so for each of the three projects I have out right now, it's a total of 6 books. And we're working to release Motivated Effort late spring, and that'll be 2 more. So I'll be up to 7 and 8.
Wow, congratulations. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
And, I when I first saw the title, things my mama said, I had to giggle because it's like that.
You gotta remember it. You're like, oh Lord.
And then the Pro Series, your books seem to bring that inner strength forward because, you're.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow.
Mama says that tells me pearls of wisdom, things that the wisdom passed on. And then, the motivation effort. So tell me about the motivated effort book.
Wow. I don't know if it's the treatment or what, but you almost made me cry just now. I'm like, I'm trying to hold it together. I'm like, oh, I gotta keep going today. We just got started. She's trying to make me cry early. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's get going. Thank you though for that. I think, when it comes to a title, and I know you didn't ask me this part, but I'm gonna say this part first. When it comes to a title, that in addition to the cover of your book are the first things that people see and read. And I want a title that not only that tells you what you're going to read about, but also helps you to feel what you're going to read about. And so when you read my titles, I want you to feel something. And so, like you said, when you read the title, Things My Mama Said, you were like, I started remembering everything. I started feeling it, and it made you laugh. And I was like, yes, that's what I want. That's what I want. Because I want you to feel that. And so, motivated effort, everybody's like, are you sure those two words go together? Yeah, because if you look at them independently, motivated means it's a verb and it's something you got to do. And then effort, that's something that comes from you. And so if it's something that you have to do and it comes from you, that ought to give you a whole idea of what I'm going to dig into is that literally you're going to have to dig deep into yourself, not looking to a motivational book, not looking to friends and family, but looking to what really is going to keep you going forward and not faster, but going forward on purpose. And so motivated effort is what that's all about. You have to know that it's an inside job and that it starts with you. That's the ME. When I call it the me project, that's where I call it the me project because the ME is you. It starts with you and it comes from you. And that's like the effort part. Like effort is nobody else's. Like you can't get anything done based upon anybody else's effort. Nothing that's going to be sustainable and last. You know what I mean?
Right.
But effort that is your own, your grit, your what do they say? Skin in the game, if you will. That is the difference maker. That is the key. That is what makes and change things. So, yeah, that's where it comes from. That's what it's about.
To me, that tells me that you've done a lot of your own self-development and
Oh yeah.
healing process.
Yeah.
And you're one of those individuals. I mean, this is a sense that I'm picking up is that you're one of those individuals who doesn't just want to, but you have like this internal need to reach back to that person 2 steps behind and say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
let me guide you, let me help you along, and you know, you don't have to do the hard way. I went through the hard
Yeah.
way. You don't have to do that.
Yeah. I think, one thing I remember growing up, my mama, I have to say it like she said it. She said, if Johnny jump off a bridge, do you think you need to go jump off the bridge just to see that jumping off the bridge will hurt? Like she used to say, she said those things because she wanted us to realize that, you know, you don't have to try it out and test it for yourself. You don't have to go through the same trials, the same things we went through. I'll be honest. You don't need to do drugs just because somebody else did drugs, just to know that doing drugs isn't all that it's cracked up to be, or it isn't worth, losing things in life. It's not worth getting addicted to even more drugs. Like those are the things they taught us early. And so that type of, like you said, reaching back and looking forward is what, I was raised as. And so I look at that in everything that I do because I want to be that person that, at the end of my own life, that I can say I did everything that was in me and I fulfilled my complete purpose. And knowing that that was a part of my purpose, I did it. And so that's why it's very important for me to not just look forward, but to reach back as well.
Couldn't have said that any better. So then with your writing process, are you well, I was going to ask, are you pulling this from sources? And obviously you are. But what is your writing purpose? Maybe I should just open the door that way.
You said, what is my writing process?
Oh, yes. What is your writing
process?
I love the laugh. The look on your face is wonderful.
Well, okay, so I think I shared it with you, but I'll share it a little bit with the audience as well. So when we first started, I was getting treatment. I have chronic Lyme disease. And so I began getting sick, drastically changing my life, my family's life, my work life, my writing and business, everything in 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, right when the pandemic happened. Yeah. Everybody else was worried about COVID. I was worried about living from something far worse, But seriously though, with that though, it changed how I have to write and process now. And so my original and used to be process was that I would kind of write in a journaling process, meaning I would keep like an open document or maybe a couple. I'm just being honest on my Google Docs. And depending upon if I knew from the topic I wanted to write it as a book, I would put in the title, I would say at least what the working title was, and I would say book idea. And then I would start journaling. Literally, my mind works like blah, like diarrhea, like blah, blah, blah. I know that's crazy, but it's like always like that all the time. It's always running and thinking. My dad used to say, "Do you ever stop thinking? Like, do your brain ever stop go off?" And we're pretty convinced it doesn't. You know, no box has ever been able to contain it. I'm just being honest. And so, as a result of that, I would always I would be, I don't know, like right now in the doctor's office, and I would just blah, diarrhea, and I would blah, 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 diarrhea it out, blah, 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 and type it out. That's how I describe my writing process. And I describe anybody that's a new writer that is afraid and always self-editing. Like, I'm going to get that book out. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. I'm going to write it. But you're like, all these things have to be in place and all that stuff. No. Or you're a self-editor. That's when I go into Tanya's mode of writing and I say, I need you to have diary of the mouth and type it out. Literally go blah, 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 blah. And it works. And it doesn't mean that it's done in that moment. But whatever is in here that you needed to say about the book at that time, you have it out. It may not be pretty. It may not be punctuated correctly. It may have a bunch of grammatical errors. But guess what? It's on paper. And it's something for you to use. It's words, it's ideas, it's something out there. Another way, like I said, journal format. So I said one way I just kind of write the topics, right? Of not the topics, but like the something I know in my heart that I want as a book idea. Other times I may just have a working document and I'm just literally floating ideas because I not only write my books, but I do courses and I do posts for Talking with Tanya on social media. So sometimes they don't make it the cut to a book, or they may make the cut to a post, a course, and a book, and a mastermind, and a speaking engagement. Y'all see how I did that? That's a nugget. And I'm gonna explain that. Meaning you can take one topic, one book, and you can use that book and you can break it up by way of using some of the core topics for a speaking engagement, for a podcast interview. You can also use it to create a course and do an online course and charge for it. Let's say $47 for a one-time course that you're going to offer. You sign up on social media, da 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 da, and you got 20 people for your class on the same thing that you wrote a book about that you charged $10 for. Now you charge $47 for. Did you catch it? And then you did the speaking engagement and they paid you $1,000 for it. Do you see how all of that material just spread? We didn't go into a mastermind on the topic, but that I know we like to tell you that was probably question number 5, but it came up, so I had to throw that nugget out there. But my writing style is journal, audio a lot lately because neurologically, my brain is messed up. I'll just be honest.
Are you there, Tanya?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I don't know what happened, but you went away for a second.
I know, I saw that. Where do you want me to start?
You're fine. It actually where it froze was at the end of a sentence, so you don't have to repeat anything.
Okay. So what I was sharing with you guys is that with the Lyme disease and everything, it's, I have neurolyme and it's drastically messed up my mind. And so where I used to do typing journaling, I also have a couple of forms of arthritis. So I can't type and write and hold none of that as much. And so audio is my friend. I love it. And so I will do audio messages to myself. I used to do them before, but like now they're my bread and butter. And so I'll do audio messages and then I'll get them transcribed and then I'll just plug and play that into either where I was journaling or where I was working on a draft of a book. And so you say draft of a book. Yeah, I usually have at least 3 projects in mind after the project that I'm releasing. One may be in full draft written. The other one may be in pieces, journal format, and then the other one may just be written as a book idea. And so if you're a writer and you want to be an author, you have to be doing this business with the heart and mind that it won't just be one book, it'll be more than one book. And you have a lot to say about different things, whether you'll be a novelist, whether you'll be a nonfiction author, whether you'll be a history writer, whatever the type of writer you are, know that you have that ability to be a published author and write on the things and publish on the things that near and dear to your heart. I'm gonna throw it back because I think I've been talking and answered about 5 questions you may have had on your list. I'm
Well,
sorry, Cynthia.
no, talk, please. This is fantastic information. Writing a book isn't just writing a book. You can do so much more with it. You can expand on it. You can teach a class with your
The
content.
same material.
Yeah, with the same material. You can have, different workshops. You can turn it into a full-blown 16-week course if you want.
A mastermind
Having a
and charge the
mastermind.
big bucks.
Yes, yes. Those really, really big bucks.
Yeah, I mean, because you're a subject matter expert. You're SME. And you're SME on what you know about and what you've written about. And now using that, you don't just want to walk away and just say, I published a book, because unfortunately, that's what a lot of authors do. They that go desire to go from a writer to an author. I published a book. Now what? And it's like, you don't know what else you can do. Like, you got gold in your hands. Like, you have to see that there's so much more. You can use that same topic and get on the speaking, circuit, if you want to call it, and speak at colleges if that fits, or speak at community groups. You could get, if it's spiritual, churches, nonprofits, women groups, like, you have the opportunity and it's just before you. You can do so much beyond just writing one book. And if that's all you want to do is write one book, that's great. But I just feel like there's more in you. And so if all you want to do is be an author, then I challenge you to look at that first book and see if you can do it just like chicken soup. And if you guys know the model of chicken soup, it was one book. And they literally made chicken soup of everything. Chicken soup with teens, kids, families, parents, teachers. I mean, chicken soup, chicken soup, chicken soup.
Yes, they did.
And all they were was for an author. And so I challenge you to think of your book and see if there's a way to rework it, not revise it, but rework it and put it out as a leader's manual, maybe, or like I said, for parents only, something like that, and go that route, or the route I do with a journal or a guide, or you could even do it to where, especially if you're a novelist, oh my God, she, well, all I remember was Miss Steele back in the day, and she just it looked like she made 50 billion thousand books when I was growing up. And Nancy Drew and all of them, like, I'm like, how much can you talk about the same topic? A lot. Change the title, change the actor, I mean the players, change the plot a little bit, but it's still the same plot, and keep writing. And so, that, like I said, my always number one advice to any writer that wants to go from a writer to a published author and they're afraid and don't know what to do is blah, 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 blah. Get it out
I love
by any
that.
way.
I love that. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, having the brain dump, the mind, somebody called it the mind vomit.
Mind mapping, mind.
Yeah,
Yeah, that word.
there's a whole bunch of different ways that people talk about that messy first draft or the shitty first draft. And
Yeah.
the first draft is not meant to be perfect. And
I think you need to say that again, Cynthia. I had to get closer because they think it is, and they are afraid. They're upset when it comes back with edits and revisions. It's going to be a bloody first draft. I'm sorry, I had to break your heart, but it is. I don't care if you got an A in English all the way through college. It just is. It's going to be messy, 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 messy,
It is
and
going
that's
to be.
good.
Yes. Well, and it's meant to be because a work, your first draft is the work in progress. Now you get to polish it. Now you get to whittle away the stuff that is not necessary and get rid of that extra, the weight of it that holds it down, or the loose ends that take you, down a path that it goes
Yeah.
nowhere. You get to cut those off and so forth. And yeah, it's meant to be, revised and worked on for a little bit of time. I have yet to meet anybody who has, when I'm trying to think of his name, it eludes me at the moment. He was like one of my early guests. Like, I hadn't even had 5 podcasts done. Anyways, he was a best-selling author of over 30 books. And I asked him, what is are you still, after 30 books, are you still having to go back through and edit your first draft? And he's like, oh yeah, that first draft is meant to be yuck. It's not supposed to be pretty.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, getting over that hump is a lot of times, the first or at least the second step that will get any writer put, after that brain dump, and then getting, to that understanding that it's going to not be a pretty first draft. Those are like my number 1 and 2. I tell anybody, and along with the nuggets I gave.
Right.
And then the third thing I tell anybody is have fun. Like,
Yes.
have fun with what you're writing about. I don't care if it's a serious topic. Have fun with it. Like, you should be able to be excited when it comes time to writing and not feel like it's a chore and, oh my God, I gotta go write 200 more words. Like, I'm not a person that way. When it's time to end it, it's just time to end it. I know some people are, they have to have a certain amount of words, and I get that. There are some publishers like that, or just some book type type of books that require that. But the thing is, even if that's still the case, have fun with it, because you may project that into your book if you're not. If you're dreading writing, it may show up in your writing that you're dreading it.
That's brilliant. I would agree with you wholeheartedly, because the energy that we cast out, you're right, it appears, it shows up. If you're having when I go back to look on stuff that I've written throughout a book, I can tell you I was having a bad day, or I was having a really, I'm like on this book. I am connected. I am rolling with it because of the language, how it reads and all of that. And when we go to sit down, we're not always connected to the storyline
Yeah.
or the topic, and we're not always going to be in the best of moods, but yet we sit down, we do the work, and yeah, you're right, it does show up. It shows up in our language, our spelling, oh God, our spelling, or grammar errors, or the really, the punctuation, dot, dot, dot. Should never, ever appear in a book, except for, if it's, well, I'm not going to go into that. That's editing mode. But anyways. So then with publishing your books, did you go with the self-publishing route, or did you go with like a hybrid company to help you with that process?
No, believe it or not, I mean, I guess you could say it was a hybrid because the company offered those services back then. Create Space, which is now just called KDP now,
Yes.
under the umbrella of Amazon. I use their editing and line revision services and those different things. I always went independently though when it came time to my book cover designs because it has to speak to me. I'm just just like my title, my cover has to speak to me. That's why my fourth book project, I haven't published it and it's been 2 years because I haven't gotten the cover design that speaks to what I know, all of what people are going to get from this book. But yeah, like, and then plus I was sick too in between the time. But yeah, no, but it mainly self-publishing with, some additional contracting out of some services. So like the editing, usually I'll go with top, um, pu- they're independent publisher, but they also have a la carte services. And they're a good company that does good proofreading, copywriting, editing, all of that. So I do some contracting for that. And crazy or not, I did something different for a motivated effort. And I'm kind of really excited for it to come out. I did contracted work for the interior. I've never done that to where like the interior is gonna be a little funky. Like, and I'm
Nice.
like, yeah, like I normally just go with, the simple interior options that, KDP offers.
Right.
But I decided that I wanted to really have more expression on the inside of the book as well, and for that to play into it. And so I'm really excited to hear from my audience about that, how they receive it as well, because this particular person I use, her interiors are like just bomb. Like they're just so like out there. Like it's just like a book you want to know what it's about. And so, my first one is a little toned down because I'm nervous. But if the audience loves it, I'm going to see where that goes with the next one that we're working on and go from there. So that may be a new contracted service that we add to the piece.
That
But I mainly self-published, so I only self-published through Amazon KDP because it's just the easier format. And I'll be honest, that's where I started. I have looked into Ingram. I've looked into Lulu. I've looked into a couple of more outfits that are out there, and they're all, something good about all of them.
of course.
And then I think even Barnes and Noble ended up having one as well. I don't know if they still have it. So, you know, there's good options. I would tell anybody when it comes to figuring out if they want to um, do 100% self-publishing, if they want to do independent publishing or a hybrid, or if they want to wait to get picked up. The only thing I say about getting picked up by a publishing house that's not as notable. Notoriety has a lot of
Notoriety.
notoriety or credit
Yes.
is to do your homework, especially when it comes to the contract that you're going to sign. Because I have heard so many horror stories from individuals that when they get their check, they got like $5.25 and their book sold for $20 because they didn't look at the print to see how much they would actually be getting per book sale in royalties. So read, research, even maybe even get a lawyer, read over your contract because I would hate for that to be you. And then they don't have freedom to leave or they don't have freedom to take the book with them, even though they wrote it. So research. If you decide to go with an independent publisher. Basically, that's a small publisher. They have everything and they offer everything from beginning to end for you. Some even do ghostwriting for you. I don't know if your audience knows about that, but they do ghostwriting. And so, and to me, that can be kind of where you just really, really can't at all get it out, but you know it's a story. A lot of times I tell individuals that I meet that have um, busy schedules or they've lived a little longer and they're pretty senior to consider ghostwriting services for those type of projects because I would hate for you to leave a piece of your purpose in you before you leave this earth. So ghostwriting services are definitely good for that. Independent, if you want that self-publishing still royalties and all that, but you don't have the time or know or understand who to get all those people to get those things, an independent publishing house has all of that in-house or contracted with individuals that they work with to produce your project. Those are good options as well. And then if you're just really ready for it, hey, go self-publish and see where it takes you. I definitely can tell you it's a huge learning curve, but once you get it, you can have a business as well, teaching entrepreneurs how to produce their first book, and you don't even have to be a publisher. So I'm telling you guys, there are ways to work this thing, okay? There are ways to become just an author just because you want to write. So that was nugget. That was another one.
I was going to say, you have all of these bits and pieces and nuggets for making money. I need to hang out with you a little more. It's like you're giving me ideas, and it's like, oh yeah,
Listen, if you are not already doing coaching as an entrepreneur, I'm mad at you, Cynthia, if you're not. And that's all I'm gonna
I
say.
am. I
Okay,
am.
I was about to say, you're not. You better be. But
I,
you need to do a boot camp.
you know, I've offered a handful of classes, and um, I do offer a variety of different services. And yeah,
You
you're
got to think about a
also
boot camp. You got to think about a writer's retreat conference. You got to think about that.
that sounds like so much fun to do a writer's retreat. And now that COVID has, all of that stuff has been lifted, I have a friend who is doing a women's retreat. And I thought, maybe I wonder if she would let me show up and do a writer's retreat, or, if she was,
Listen, I would consider that. No, because
yeah,
then you can market to both of you guys' audience. You can market to your audience the women's retreat and the writers retreat that'll be, one day out of the retreat because she may not have her entire agenda yet. And then you throw that to her. Hey, if you don't have your agenda yet, maybe think about letting me offer a writer's retreat during that time for anybody that wants to sign up. This would be the price. And y'all maybe can collab because collaboration is key and it saves time, money, and resources. You don't have to reach out to as many people because you collaborated with someone that you can work together and build. That's nugget number, I don't know. Collaboration is key. Collaborate, guys, as often as possible because what you have as a writer is something somebody else may need. And the fact may be you may love transcribing, and that's how you do your books. And you're like, well, maybe I can do that as a also service. You never have any idea the things that you think are small that are big to somebody else. And that's what I tell people purpose starts with.
right.
Purpose is that thing that nobody thinks is big because it's not famous or name brand or celebrity status, but it's everything that everybody needs. They just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
So think about that, guys. Collaborate.
Well, see, my moneymaker is I'm a virtual assistant, and I help people with their websites. But I do much more than that because I'm a Jackie of many trades, and I can figure out the techie stuff real quick. For some reason, it's natural to me, and so it is really interesting the different things that I have explored for to help a client, or somehow I just happen to know the answer, and I don't always know where it comes from. But hey, again, that's one of those gifts that I most certainly am not going to, discredit.
Oh no, to me, I tell people that your purpose is not a title, a role, or a position. Your purpose is the thing that's in you that expresses itself in many ways. And for you, your purpose is being able to not write, but your purpose is what happens when you write. And that same thing probably happens when you do virtual assistant work and any other thing in your life. And so that thing that comes alive in you of helping people and giving people strength and resilience and love and kindness through your works that you do, that's a part of really your purpose. Everything else is just an expression of that you bring. And so I tell anybody that don't know, no, if you got your purpose has an expression of being VA work, and it's bringing in the 5 to 6 digits, don't knock that. Don't close that down. Keep that thing running. But also see if there's any ways for you to align working with authors. And hey, are you trying to set up a podcast? Do you need help setting up your podcast that you want to talk to about your topic and expound upon that? Because when you have to submit your book on Amazon, you have to have like 5 categories. And so those categories can sometimes be those things that you want to talk about in a podcast. And so if you want to do that, I offer services that can help you set that podcast up, or that course you want to do online that you want to take from your book to that, or that boot camp, I can help you do that as well. And see how you can, I don't call that collaborating. I call that interlacing the gifts,
Like that.
seeing how you can interlace your gifts and your purpose across the areas that you work in. And so, yeah.
Yeah, because I've always been one of those people that when you get the gurus that say, "Oh, you got to niche down to one specific thing," I'm like going, "Oh, I can't, because I can't just choose one. I enjoy all of this."
So I'll give you my thing. I feel like we were all created beings that were creative. And we had to do a lot of things early on ourselves. Up until like the last few centuries, we didn't have to do a bunch of things. Think about it. Just a woman, a wife, she had to know how to ride a horse, how to saddle a horse, how to milk a cow, how to start a fire, how to cut wood, how to get a baby quiet, how to nurse, how to make bread from scratch, how to try. That's a whole bunch of different positions. So you saying she needs to niche down? She wouldn't have survived. So how is it that now you're trying to tell us we need to niche down when up until a few centuries ago, you couldn't, it was impossible to niche down. You wouldn't have survived in life. And so how is that not to, how can you take that survival instinct out of us, that DNA out of us? And so that's why I tell people purpose is not a position, a title, a role, any of that. It's a why. And if your why expresses itself in multiple ways, so be it. That's just what it does. And I don't even have time to get into it, but just my signature talk on purpose that I give is specific to a tree. And the tree is the purpose, and the vision, meaning when you start to see how you can express that purpose in different ways, the vision is the limbs and the branches. And then how you express that purpose in different ways is the fruit from the tree. It's the leaves.
Yeah.
And so if a tree gives fruit multiple ways with its leaves and its fruits and its flower, your purpose is going to do the same thing. And so that is why I kept giving all those nuggets, because I don't want you to just think you're just a writer. And once you write that book, you're done. You just got started. You just got started. You just got started. And I just wanted to remind and echo what I'm sure Cynthia already does, that you just got started and you have so much more to say, so much more to write, and so much more to do.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. I know that you're getting close on time. And so is there, I was going to say, is there anything else you wanted to share? Because you have given so many pearls of wisdom. Before I get into asking that question, first I want to make sure, share your website so that people can find you on the internet.
Absolutely. Information on my coaching, speaking, any of the books, product, I call it message merch. I have on one of the shirts today. Any of that is on my website, TanyaJMiller.com, shop.TanyaJMiller. All of the online courses that I offer are on school.TanyaJMiller.com, as well as digital products like all of our digital books, and digital print and audio as well. So check us out. Connect with us at bit.ly, all caps, join fam, because you get to connect with us, but you also get a great discount on your first item when you shop with us. And then follow us on social media. Talk with Tanya. Connect with me. Follow me. You know, we give good motivation, inspiration, encouragement for wherever you're at. And by all means, when you guys here see the podcast interview with me and Cynthia, give us some love. Tell us what you liked about it. Give us some feedback. We would love to hear it. And then as you do that for me, do the same for Cynthia if you're not already doing it. Follow her everywhere on social media. Buy all of her wonderful, amazing books. Sign up for her courses. Get connected when she gets that writer's retreat going. And then most importantly, show her mega major love on her podcast with good reviews, not just good ones, great ones, so that other people can find out about this amazing writers podcast that's out there. I know I answered more than what you wanted, but I just had to give back all the love you've been giving me today.
Oh, Tanya, thank you. You melt my heart. You have motivated me. You have inspired me. You have gotten me thinking outside of that box that I had, kind of closed the lid on. Thank you. It is I that thanks you. Truly, I have enjoyed our time, listening. Thank you. I am so very grateful. Oops, and you're frozen again. Are you still there, Tanya? Oh, there you are. Oh.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Is there...
You're freezing up?
You're frozen. Are you still there, Tanya? Oh, I hear...
Okay, I'm sorry.
No.
I was trying to leave, but they were trying to leave. I apologize.
It's all good. It's all good. Oh, you got blue skies there.
Yes, blue skies in Texas.
Oh, how nice. Thank you. Again, I don't know if you heard what I was saying about, I am so grateful for you provided a tremendous amount of inspiration, motivation, and I am again, very grateful. And you got to go. So is there anything you wanted to, a pearl of wisdom that you didn't bring up that you'd like to share before we end?
Yes, it's one of my favorite quotes by a mentor that I had both in his life and now in his death. Dr. Miles Monroe. He is a thought leader. He is a mega author. He wrote probably over 30 books before he died on leadership and purpose. But the quote is, "The goal of life is to die empty, to go to the graveyard and disappoint the cemetery." I'm going to say that one more time because it hits like after the second time when it sinks in. The goal of life is to die empty, to go to the graveyard and disappoint the cemetery. And what that means is you don't die with your purpose in you. Your purpose should not be in the grave with you. You should be able to go to the graveyard and disappoint the cemetery because your purpose is not there. It's been left here for everyone else to feel it, know it, see it, and have lived with it. So thank you, Cynthia. I truly appreciate the honor of being able to be a guest today. I have thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Well, take care of yourself. And,
Thank you.
and whoever's driving you home,
Yes.
drive carefully, drive carefully.
Thank you.
And, thank you. Truly, I am grateful. Before we end our time together, I'd like to say thank you for listening to this powerful, powerful conversation with Tanya Miller on the alchemy of turning our books into gold. To access her website and purchase the books she has written, visit pentopaperpress.com/podcast and select the show notes page for this episode. As Tanya mentioned, show us some love by following and rating the Pen to Paper Press podcast on your favorite app, and leave us a comment on the show notes page to let us know which pearl of wisdom really motivated you and which one really stood out. We would love to connect with you. Of course, your support is greatly appreciated. To receive future episodes in your inbox, subscribe to the Pen to Paper Press podcast newsletter and follow us on social media. Take care, and until next time, keep your pen to paper and write. Your words have power. Your story matters. But wait 1 second before I say bye for now. I want to share with you just a little bit of the clip so you know exactly how it started off before I started doing editing. All right, yeah, you're going to find this interesting. Oh my, oh my, oh my. It was heartbreaking to say the least. All right, you take care of yourself. Enjoy the exit of listening to my Uber Gloober and one of my worst, nightmares as a podcast host. Thank you.
Whatever the type of writer you are, know that you have that ability to be a published author and write on the things and publish on the things that near and dear to your heart. I'm going to throw it back because I think I've been talking and answered about 5 questions you may have had on your list. Sorry.
No, talk, please. This is fantastic information. And one thing about the podcast interviews,